It's the first trading day in the week. Thank you very much for joining us on Business Incorporated. I'm Chiweze Obi Iwagu. On the show today, South Africa and Egypt among 7 emerging countries at risk of exchange rate crisis. Zimbabwe mulls scrapping bond notes. Plus, Djibouti nationalizes shares held by Port of Djibouti in Dorala Container Terminal. Let's get the show started now with the markets. And the markets we track here on the show in Africa started the new trading week on a bearish sentiment, as most of them were in the red at intraday. The Nigerian market was down 0.11%. The South African JSE index came down 0.30%. Egypt was down 0.55%, and Kenya closed in the red on Friday. And in the Middle East, the reverse is the case. The markets were trading in the green at intraday. Abu Dhabi and Qatar were the best performers, up 1.39% and 1.22% each. Dubai was up 0.24%, while Saudi was up 0.17%. And in Europe, shares turned positive during mid-morning deals, despite ongoing concerns over global trade. And it's the beginning of a new trading week. Let's bring in Conrad Boulson to lead us into the new week. Hello, Conrad. Good afternoon. Good to see you again on the show.
Hey, Jimmy. Good to be back. Thank you.
Right. Now, let's take a look at the markets first. The leading German share index, DAX, is sending a few negative signals. It fell below 12,000 points last week. What are the chances for recovery, and are traders really concerned right now?
I can tell you traders are really concerned, despite the fact that, as you can see right behind me, the German share index has managed to climb above the mark of 12,000 points here in the course of this trading day. But traders are also convinced that the market is not out of the woods, as the perspective, the outlook, the economic outlook is so uncertain, and as more or less every day new threats for trade policies are coming to the markets. The concerns about this have been underlined today by the Centix Institute, which came out with its recent investor confidence index, and this index for the Eurozone has fallen to 12 points. That's 2.7 points lower than in the last month. And the reason for this, the Centix Institute says, is concerns about the outlook for the economies, especially emerging economies in Latin America and also parts of Asia. One positive aspect might be that the so-called insider barometer is up. This barometer is gauged by the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management and by the German newspaper Handelsblatt. And this barometer measures the amount of purchases of company shares by the top executives of those shares. Now, the fact that this barometer has increased 13 points to 143 indicates that more top executives of companies have used the recent ditches of share prices and of stock indices to buy, especially top executives from the real estate sector here in Germany, as well as steel trading companies. They're pretty confident about their outlook and about future earnings.
And still in Germany, Volkswagen is going on trial today in a German courtroom as investors are seeking nearly 10 billion euros in compensation. The litigants argue that the car maker should have informed shareholders earlier about its diesel cheating. How likely is it that the shareholders will win this?
Well, most traders I talk to here and analyst reports I could read about this say that it's most likely that some settlement will come out of this. Also because the shareholders who are suing Volkswagen here are in a bit of a dilemma, because by suing the company, they sue the company that will eventually have to pay compensation to them, and that's the company they own. So in some respect, those shareholders are biting the hand here that feeds them. Still, of course, some justice has to be found here. It's reasonable for the plaintiffs here to seek justice because a lot of damage has been done by the fact that Volkswagen failed to inform the markets in time. What's also worth noting here is that DECA Investment is a large plaintiff here. That is, the fund management company for the German Sparkassen system, which is the public sector savings bank of millions of Germans. The fact that DECA has been, getting in the game here, suing Volkswagen, shows that also rather conservative investors, institutional investors here in Germany, are ready to play a rougher game and that they are confident to win at least something out of it.
Yeah, Conrad, we just have to follow up on that case and see what the outcome becomes much later. Anyway, what are the top economic and corporate news on your radar this week?
Well, in terms of corporate news, I think one event is on the minds of everyone on the world's markets in many countries, and that's the presentation of the new iPhone by Apple this Wednesday. Or better, iPhones, because if you listen to what experts have to say, it's very likely that Apple will present several new iPhone models on Wednesday. In terms of economics and in terms of money, it's very likely that the two of us will be speaking a lot about emerging economies and about reserve banks. Reserve banks, of course, the European Central Bank meeting is due this Thursday here, where we will probably get more indications about when and how the ECB will end its purchasing programs of bonds. But in terms of emerging economies, the Reserve Bank activity is even more interesting. On Thursday also, the Turkish Reserve Bank is expected to raise rates, of course, with inflation at nearly 18%. It's about time to do so, and it will be very interesting to see what kind of impact the Reserve Bank action will have there. In Argentina, tomorrow, the central bank governors will get together, and of course, people on the markets are keen to know what the Reserve Bank in Buenos Aires will come up with in terms of trying to support the currency and to support the economy there. And last but not least, on Friday, the Russian central bank will also have its meeting. Beforehand, the Russian Prime Minister Medvedev has been trying to convince or to head off some sort of interest rate hike, but the central bank governor, Elvira Nabiulina, is very anti-inflation, so it's likely that Russia will see an ending of a 3-year-long cycle of rate cuts.
Well, quite a lot to chew in the week, Conrad. Let's keep a tab on them. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the day. In the U.S., index